You may have seen all those endgame build videos. You may have seen stuff ranging from something being pure shit to being absolutely broken of a build. But what do they all have in common? They're all build videos. None of them actually tell you what to do with a class or a role or how to play the game. Hi, I'm an Exorber Warrior, and today I present you the ultimate guide for Aliens Fireteam Elite. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. It doesn't matter if you're new to the game or have been playing it since launch. If you tend to struggle or are forced to hold cheesy spots, or worse, hold doors, then this guide is what you need and it's gonna help you out. Well, there's nothing wrong with holding doors, or that's what some people say. However, it breaks my heart to see so many people missing out on the actual fun this game offers on higher difficulty, which is huge. If you decide to watch all of the videos in this series of my ultimate guide, A, I'll be thankful to you, B, you will have a really good or in fact great understanding of the classes or roles and how to play the game to your full potential. You will have a great understanding of the game mechanics and core gameplay, and you will actually love to play on the hardest difficulties, and in fact, instead of using challenge cards to help you out, you will use challenge cards to make it even harder. Extreme will be your new casual difficulty, and Insane will be the new intense for you. Now, I'm not gonna give you the so-called endgame build. I've already made several build videos. In fact, builds would just complement if your gameplay is good, and in fact it's actually the game knowledge that matters, as we've done missions on Insane even without a single perk in the grid or even attachments on our weapons. Now that brings us to our second point. Why should you even watch this video, or would you even listen to whatever I have to say? Well, if you're new to my channel, then here's something for my credibility. I've been playing the game since launch, making content, build videos, tutorials, etc. I've got almost 1900 hours in the game, and we tend to play on Insane and Insane alone. As you can see here, I've done 4-1 about more than 90 times on Insane, and almost 90% of those times without any door holds or choke point. Heck, we even threw in any hard challenge cards that you can think of on all the campaigns on Insane difficulty as well as game modes. So in this video, you're going to learn about major differences between Extreme and Insane, my number one tip when playing on Insane, TTKs, breakpoints, damage calculation for weapons. We will discuss about weapon categories. We will discuss in depth about the classes, roles, what do they actually offer to a team, miscellaneous tips and tricks you might not know about. With that being said, let's begin. Aliens Fireteam Elite is a third-person co-op shooter. It's a very simple game, shoot and kill, and that's about it, right? Wrong. Well, it's a very simple game, shoot to kill, yes. And that's what it feels like if you play on lower difficulty, as enemies got very low HPs and the weapons abilities got a decent amount of damage. Everything dies too quickly, and sometimes you don't even get to use or enjoy your class's full kit. On Insane difficulty is when things actually start to matter. So what happens on Insane? What changes? So let's get to the facts. When you jump onto Extreme or Insane from lower difficulties, these are the drastic changes that you're gonna notice immediately. So let's do a quick comparison between both difficulties. Enemy HP. Enemies have 2.5 times more HP on Extreme. On Insane, they've got about 3.5 times more. Enemy damage, or the damage that enemies would do to you on Extreme, is kind of closer to Insane compared to Intense. However, it gets really brutal on Insane. Player revives, so you get 2 on Extreme and 1 on Insane. Enemies that can execute you, on Extreme there are none. On Insane, anything that can grapple you. All elites can execute you besides crushers as well as brutes. They have no grapple and they have no execution animation. If you've been downed by any reason whatsoever, anything other than the crushers and brutes can still execute you without grappling you when you're downed by the tail stab revive time. So 20 seconds approx on Extreme versus 10 seconds on Insane. Approx is because sometimes due to the connection, lag issues, or frames per second, your timer will start between 19 point something, and it's gonna vary. Friendly fire takes 2 shots from the shotgun on Extreme, and it takes only 1 shot on Insane to down you. Ammo is reduced down to 70% on Extreme and Insane. Acid damage is kind of strong on Extreme, however, it's very punishing. It will immediately down you if you stood in acid pool for longer than a couple of seconds. Enemy spawn stream, definitely there are some specials in the mix, some additional elites. However, on Insane, you're gonna see a lot of runner spawns, you're gonna see a lot of specials in the mix, and there are additional elite punishment spawns. There are definitely punishment spawns on Extreme. However, on Insane, they're very brutal. You're gonna have punishment spawns consisting of bursters, prowlers, you name it. Now this brings us to our topic. let's just dive deeper and discuss about my tips for tackling extreme or insane. My pro tip would be watch the radar and pick your targets. I cannot emphasize this enough, like it wouldn't be exaggerating if I say play the game by not looking at the screen but the radar. If you start doing this, 50% of your gameplay is going to be more enjoyable, smooth, comfortable, on insane that is. You will challenge yourself more and more. You won't need those so-called door holes. Heck, not even your typical choke points after a while. Here's the quick demonstration of that. Now, the way you should be dealing with the enemies in fights is 99% of the time in presence of specials, not elites, but specials. You should try and take them out ASAP. Being safe, of course, it doesn't mean that everybody needs to focus on them. Everybody can call out what they're doing, be specific about the callouts. If a teammate says he's taking care of a prowler on the left, then trust him with it. Try to focus on the other targets. However, if there's another prowler on the right, call it out. Let everybody know. Once the specials are taken care of, runners should be your #1 priority. Yes, you heard that right. Runners. Otherwise, you just can't prevent being overwhelmed by the runners, which means specials and elites can waltz in and be nastier than they otherwise would be. So one person should focus on each lane and ask them to do so, unless they call out for help. Callouts are very important. If you don't watch the radar and call out what you're doing or assigning roles to yourselves, then no matter how good or bad the build is or what the class, it's not gonna work. So here's an example of how you should be making the callouts and how you should be and how the communication should look like. If you're playing with pugs or with randoms on quick play with no comms, what you can do is you can ping to whatever lane you're picking so that everybody's aware that what you're doing and what they're supposed to do.
I'm gonna push up really far ahead though to try to like funnel really deep. So that's left.
Just hug the left.
Alright, you guys got that. I'm heading back.
Behind. Who? I'm still on the left. Guys, take behind. Behind.
I'm moving into engage. We got a prowler from behind. I stunned it once though.
Front.
Grab ammo real quick while I have a chance. We got front and behind. I'm gonna take behind.
I'm getting ammo.
I'm gonna just slow everything else down while we deal with that.
I put a cryo.
Go for the spitter. Yep, I stopped firing. You're good for it.
Next up is TTK. TTK is what you need to focus on. So this topic is very deep and it's a whole topic in itself, but without making it too long or complicated, let me explain. Simply, TTK stands for time to kill, or how much time does it take for you to kill an enemy with a specific weapon. The quicker the better, as there are so many targets on the screen. The faster you kill them and efficiently, you stay safe and you will be able to hold your own. But on the other hand, if you don't kill them fast enough, then guess what? You get swarmed and you get surrounded and killed. Don't get me wrong, retreating from elites is only natural, but being pushed back by runners means something is wrong somewhere. This should never happen. And that's the reason you should be looking to either one-shot them or kill them in the quickest time with your overall DPS. Now, depending on the amount of time a specific weapon takes to kill the enemy, and whether you like it or not, you can try and improve the weapon by selecting the right mods or attachments, as well as perks in the perk grid to have better or quicker TTKs. As once again, the weapons with the quickest TTKs are your best bet. You can spec into weapons and make them great by either achieving breakpoints or overall DPS, damage per second. Okay, so how do we do that, and by how much? What weapon attachments to take? Do we buff the weak point, or do we go for the fire rate when selecting the weapon attachments? Or do we put in a bunch of weapon perks in the grid? But there are limited perk grid slots, and we got so many perks to choose from, and abilities to play around too. So what do we do for the weapons to have better damage or better TTKs? Well, to answer that question, we gotta talk about breakpoints and DPS. So breakpoints. Now, in order to understand breakpoint in this game, let me give you an example by saying that if you spec into your weapon, be it through attachments and or weapon perks in the grid to boost its damage to kill a runner with a body shot or a weak point hit by doing damage equal to or more than a runner's HP, which is about 2,709 with a single shot, then basically you have now achieved breakpoint. Got it? Pretty simple. You one-shot a runner. So you should spec into weapons to reach breakpoints for runners mainly. Why? Because 80% of the type of enemy you're going to face in the game are going to be runners. And that's all you're going to worry about. Because trust me when I say this, it's not the elites or the specials that are the problem. It's the huge number of xenomorph runners that spawn along with them, which makes it really hard to deal with the horde. As once the fodder is all taken care of, killing the elite is not even a problem. Remember this. This is very important. Now let's talk about DPS. DPS or damage per second. So DPS can be well understood in a way when it is said that not every weapon will or can reach breakpoint, meaning it cannot one-shot a runner. Such a weapon might still have huge damage potential over a period of time or against a given high HP number. Heck, you can't even kill an elite in a single magazine. Means it's gonna take a while to kill them, as well as it's gonna take several shots, reloads, shots, and more reloads. So you have to work out and crunch numbers to see which weapon would be good in this scenario, i.e. shooting faster and reloading faster, not to mention doing decent damage per bullet. Note, sometimes adding 20% damage may be more valuable than adding 20% fire rate, because if it brings the shots to kill from 2 to 1, you're basically doubling your effective DPS or kills per second for runners, not just increasing it by 20%, and sometimes it's the total opposite. And the perfect example of it would be, let's say, the pike versus the scout rifle, where both weapons with the right attachments or class and perks using them, where the pike will one-shot kill runners, but it will shoot, get out of ADS, reload, go in ADS, pick a target, aim, and shoot, versus the scout, given its faster fire rate and bigger magazine and quick reload animations, would two-shot kill a runner faster than compared to the pike with a one-shot kill capability. General damage calculation. Generally, this is how you calculate damage for a weapon, and it will give you an idea of how to go about modding it with attachments or make it reach breakpoints if it can, or generally boost its damage by calculating its DPS if it can't reach breakpoint. It'll give you a formula or a calculation method for you to calculate damage and see if you can achieve breakpoints on your favorite weapons. So here is the formula we're going to use. Now, the M37A3 pump shotgun has a base damage of 182. However, that is per pellet. This shotgun, once maxed out, shoots 13 pellets. Thus, your damage per shot will be 182 times 13 equals 2,366. That is without taking the weak point damage into consideration. Now, if you get a weak point hit on the runner, which is the head, your damage per shot is going to be higher. So the damage per shot from 2,366 times the weak point, which is 150, will be going at 3,549. Voila! You've already got a breakpoint on this weapon. But in case it didn't, the damage number would look something like 2,475, where a runner's HP is 2,709, where you're just lacking 234 damage per shot to reach breakpoint, and one tap that runner. Having an attachment for 10% additional weak point damage on the small optics would give you the 2,750 weak point damage per shot to get to a breakpoint. I will leave a link to the spreadsheet where I've already worked out on the formula for you to calculate DPS for weapons. Where you can't achieve breakpoints, you can use it as per your convenience and crunch numbers for yourself. The link to that spreadsheet is down in the description below. Please note that I'm going to be continuously working on that spreadsheet to make it better and more detailed so that it becomes more and more informative, detailed, and easy to use. So after all the calculations that we just did, so now pump shotgun is the best gun in the game, and this is all you need, and this is all you're going to use in the game. Correct? Wrong. Keep in mind that this weapon has got a lot of damage, yes, but there are other factors that you need to keep into account, such as accuracy. Like, you will do this type of damage, yes, but if you land all of your pellets on the weak spot, that is. So you need to keep in mind the weapon accuracy and the player accuracy. What else? Well, the second major weakness would be that it's got a horrendous reload speed and a subpar fire rate. But the good thing is it already one-shots runners, and if you can get it to shoot and reload faster, then that's amazing. So you spec into reload and fire rate for the pump. Cool. Amazing. Sweet. Now I can keep the pump in hand all the time. Wrong again, because it's a CQW, close quarter weapon. Farther away the target, the wider the spread, and the damage fall off will be. Hence, ARs, DMRs, snipers, and pistols come into action. And some of these weapons can also achieve breakpoints, and guess what? They do it from a long range. Then the question boils down to preference too. Would I use a DMR or a sniper rifle on the gunner? Absolutely, but on a long range map or versus Sins for sure. If it's the fourth campaign besides 4-1, I wouldn't go with a DMR or a sniper rifle due to the fact that they they have scopes and kind of hinder visibility, and if the map I'm playing on is full of pretty tight corridors, because as a gunner I am the point man and I'm the front line and I cannot be tunnel vision. Now remember I said the topic is quite big. Since you've got your damage calculated and you've got your breakpoint, you can one-shot runners, or you've got your DPS calculated for weapons where you can't one-shot runners, but those weapons do a lot of damage overall. However, that is just considering the damage of the weapon along with the attachments. We didn't take into account the gunner stay on target damage stacks, neither the text compatibility matrix 30% damage buff with 3 coils out. Do you guys see it now? Those things are the ones that buff your damage even further and give you the firepower you need against specials and elites. Not to mention, your weapons could and would already one-shot runners without those damage buffs from the classes.